Together at 19. Thank you for joining me today. It is very warm here right now. I think in St. Louis it's 77 and it's 5:30 in the morning. So definitely crazy warm temperatures. I'm not going to hang around too long because there's probably mosquitoes already biting me. But I want to begin, as we always do, touch some kind of nature. Yeah, I'm feeling some bark on the tree. Just grounding myself, reminding myself I am outside. If you are not outside and you're on a treadmill, take a good look outside or somewhere that you can access something that is real, be it a plant, whatever. Something just to ground yourself. Remind yourself that nature is always here. All right, are we ready to begin? In 3, 2, and 1. Off we go. I was supposed to be doing a workout this morning, hard workout, but after I did my long run this past week, which was did almost 24 miles, I felt a bit of a tweaky, sharp, that jarring, kind of feeling in your, in one of your muscles, and I felt that a little bit yesterday on my run. So I've decided just going to do another easy run, and that gave me the perfect opportunity to run with you, although I just realised I'm not wearing my headlamp, so you may have me fall over but it'll get light soon. Okay, if this is your first Together run, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited you are here, and I'll explain everything we do, but the first time might be a little different. This is totally different to probably everything you've done in terms of running with listening, but everyone finds they enjoy it, or at least all the feedback. Maybe people are just too nice to me to tell me they don't like it, but I hope you will enjoy it too. It's very much running with a friend, and there's not too much of that going on right now, and who knows what the next year is going to bring. So I just love that we can go on a run together and see what it feels like. So we always begin the same way, which is that we're going to do a full body and a mind check-in. We'll start with the body, and you can start when I say, okay, begin, but we're going to work our way down through your body. You'll start at the top of your head and you'll scan down, and I'll tell you, a few body parts along the way to pay attention to, but it's also up to you. I may not mention something that you might have. You may have tennis elbow, and so your elbow is a little bit achy, and I'm not going to mention that, or whatever. So pay attention to what's going on in your body specifically, but also see how the parts that I mentioned feel. And we're just trying to get a sense and a check-in for how our body is. So I mentioned we did a nature check-in right at the very beginning of this run, and to ground us, to remind us that no matter what is going on outside, no matter what is going on in our lives, no matter how things change, nature's always going to be here. No matter what we do to this planet, how much we destroy it, nature's always going to find a way to survive. And I always find that amazing when you look at Chernobyl, that if you look at videos of it now, it's covered in green. Incredible, right? But nature finds a way. I just find that really calming. It's that whole concept of, yes, we want to know that we're important and we mean something, and that's what we want to teach our kids, that they have a place in this world and they belong. But at the same time, we can zoom way out and say that nature is the one in charge here. And so it will always be the one that wins. So I just love, well, it's not even about winning, is it? It will always be there. So yeah. Okay. Are you ready to start our scan down? So starting at the top of the head, scanning down through your eyes, your nose, back of your head, and your jaw. If your eyes or your jaw are tight, those are two areas we hold tension. Just loosen them up. Going down in the front of the neck, back of the neck, into the shoulders, going into the back of the shoulders, into your arms, those upper arms around the back and the front, into your forearms, into your hands. If you notice that your hands are very close to your body, up high by your chest, shake them out. Just loosen them out for a second. And coming back into your torso, in your chest, into your stomach, going into your hips, your pelvis, and your glutes, your hips, and then into your quads, your hamstrings, your knees, back of the knee, into the shins and calves, going into your ankle, going into the arch of your foot, the top of your foot, and finally your toes. Just take a moment to reflect. How does your body feel? For me, mostly feels okay. Feeling very warm already. Also testing out a running item from a brand, and it's very warm. Not sure it would work in summer. But otherwise I'm feeling okay. I can't really feel that hip area of mine. Okay. Let's start with the mental side of things. If I were to sit you down, or if we were running alongside each other right now, and I were to say to you, how are you doing? Really? What would you say? If you had to talk for a minute, what would you tell me? So let's just have you prepare your response. What would you have said if we were there? Just think through it as if you were telling me right now. Okay, thank you for telling me. And if you want to share when you share this photo, feel free. If you want to send it to me in a DM when you send your picture of this run. Not only would I love to hear, but I love to support you if I can. So thank you for sharing with me. And yeah, I appreciate you. Okay, so we've done our check-in, and in a minute we're going to start with a senses check-in, how our surroundings are, taking in our senses. I've mentioned on every one of these so far, we overuse our eyes, so that will be the last one you do, because we want to focus on the other senses, seeing what we feel. It's so easy to ignore those ones and to not pay attention. But we do have 5 senses. And yes, 2 of them kind of tied together, and we don't really get much from them. But we all know that certain smells bring back memories. I have multiple plastic bags in my house tied up really tight with various people's clothes in them that every now and again I need it. I just go in there and I smell them. My grandma passed away probably 10 years ago now, and I still have her cardigan, like a, what do you call that? What do you call that over here? It's not a sweater. I don't know, whatever. Cardigan, tied up, or in that bag. I still go and smell it because she's one of my greatest inspirations. And then I have a little dress that my niece wore that smells of a combination of my mum, sister, and niece. And then I also have other things from my mum that she sent. But yeah, it's funny that for me, those smells, I always joke with my family about, like, I want to take a whiff of you, because I don't know why, for me, like, smells, like, that's one of the things I miss the most, is being able to, like, bury my face in my family's body or their hair and, like, smelling them. That's what I wish I could do. And so for me, smells are really, really meaningful. Anyway, get off topic. What about for you? Let's ask that question. Think about that for a moment. I just said for me, I think, honestly, I guess that combines with touch, because the hug part, I'm definitely a huggy person. But the smell, I think more than anything, is something that can bring me back and make me feel comforted and kind of heartbroken often at the same time. But it really is powerful for me. What would you say? What is the sense that sticks out to you as one that holds power for you, that holds meaning? I'd love to know. Be sure to let me know if you do think about that question and something does come to mind. I'd love to hear it. Okay, so let's begin our sense check-in. We're going to begin by our hearing. Actually, yeah, let's start with sense and smells. I already talked about that. So take a nice deep breath in. And another one. Morning. What did you smell? What did you taste? Do you taste anything? For me, smell just like hot. I don't know how to describe it. It's like moist. That moist smell. Sorry for anyone who hates that word. And taste. Toothpaste. That's what I did right before it came out. Okay, and let's do our hearing. If you are using headphones that block out the sound, take those out for a minute. Go listen to your sounds and report back. Really listen. Really try and pick a sound that even if you do the same run every day, you can find something different. So let's just do that together now. Okay, what did you hear? What's different to what you hear from me? Is there anything the same? Is there anything that you hear in my background that is that powerful emotion for you? Reminds you of something? Okay, next we'll do touch. So I want you to pay attention to everything you feel on your body. And there's two ways to go about this. One is the open awareness method, where you will just jump from what you feel very quickly and just what comes to the forefront for you. Follow it. The other one is more intentional, paying attention to something, really experiencing that feeling. So if it is the sweat dripping down your face, what does that feel like? Like, how would you describe it if someone didn't know what that was? And you can do that and work your way through your body. But either way, sometimes it's going to be internal, like maybe your stomach bouncing around. I know that's not actually what it's doing, but it's what it feels like, right? When we have water in our belly. Or it might be your shorts against your leg. But let's just take a little bit of time now and see what we feel. What did you notice? Are there any things that you kind of feel like go on autopilot? You automatically start talking about them, or feeling them, I should say, thinking about them because you know they're there. For me, I think the sweat on the face is one of them that always draws my attention first, but then I start to move around and follow it a little more. Do you have a starting point? If so, maybe next time on one of these, I'll try and remember. You try and remember. Let's try and start from a different point. It's hard though, isn't it? With this, I've had people comment who do these that they love that I ask questions and talk to you literally as if you're there with me. But then by the time you get back from the run, and want to go write something or share it on social media, you can't remember what I asked about. And I have no idea what I asked about. And that's where what makes these together runs more natural is that I'm not making notes. I'm not preparing this with every minute planned out. I'm just running as if I'm running with you. And yes, I have a few things to talk about that I have prepared, because otherwise I may end up sharing my deepest secrets and then pay the price. But I don't say that like I'm hiding something. You know what I mean, though. Say something that could get myself in trouble in a way that I don't want to be in trouble. I've very much had been taking a stand more and more with brands I work with people who reach out about doing what is right. And if someone gets scared about me speaking out about climate change or something to do with the environment, and they say, we're not really comfortable about this, I kind of say, well, I'm not really comfortable working with you then, because that's so important to me. But there are certain things, obviously, as you know, within your own life, that are to be kept private and have the right to be kept private. Okay, back to our senses. Let's do a final sense check-in and do sight. What do you see? I want you to start by turning to the right, look down, look up. What do you see? Try and pick something you don't normally pay attention to. And I say this every time, but I really want you to try and find different things each time. Just a small detail somewhere. If it's nature, even better. But if it's something on someone's house, like I can see someone to the right of me has what looks like a herb garden on their porch, and I kind of want one of those. So my eyes narrowed in right on that. What do you see to the right? Let's go to the right diagonal. What do you see there? And move your eyes forward, right ahead, straight ahead, I should say. What do you see in the distance? Pick something as far away as you can see and try and hone in on it as you run towards it. What do you see? And to the left, look up, look down. What do you see there? See the bright moon, which is pretty cool. It's weird that I'll let you finish and then I'll continue. And finally left diagonal or left, whichever one you haven't done. What do you see there? Okay, well done. You've completed your census check-in. Yeah, I was going to say, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, if you can see the moon right now, or if you can see the sun, obviously we don't look at the sun directly, but when I look at the moon, or if we look generally in the sun's direction, it's the same one for all of us, right? Again, we love these because we feel like we're together, and we are. And that's a good reminder of that. It doesn't matter where in the world we are, we're all looking at the same moon, the same sun. We all know what a beautiful sunrise looks like. Some people get to see it more than others, because of where we live and the pollution where we live, but it's still there. And I watched actually an amazing documentary, I think it was on Apple, I think it's called The Year the World Changed. It was about 2020, and I remember seeing about, I think it was in India, I may be wrong, but there was somewhere where there's, where because of the smog that lifted when people went travelling, and we were right in the the heaviest part, early mid 2020, when people were, locked down, staying in, the smog lifted, and for the first time, this is where memory's not serving me. For the first time, these people, let's say India, could see mountains in the background, and it's big mountains. Again, I can't remember the name of the mountain range, but they could see these mountains in the distance, and they'd never seen them before because the pollution wasn't there to cover it. Kind of amazing, kind of sad, because I would bet those mountains are covered back up again now. Okay, why don't we take a moment now, stop, touch another tree or something of nature. If you're on your treadmill, you can still stop, but maybe stop to put your hands on the ground, just ground yourself, touch something of nature, touching a nice tree, some leaves, and let's take a picture of where you are. Doesn't matter what your scene looks like. My scene is really not impressive at all. I can't take a picture for you because I'm recording this, but take a picture. There's a cone in the distance that I keep thinking is a fox. We have foxes all over the place, and they make these horrible noises at night. Does anyone know what that sounds like? I'm going to talk about that in a second. Take your picture. We're on this together, run together. I would if I could, but it shuts off my recording. Doesn't matter what you look like. As I've said, it is literally, I love the fact that I get to think about running alongside with you. So when I see a picture of you and your surroundings, I'm not looking at what you look like, really. I am in sense of, so I can get a visual, so I can imagine us running together. But that's it. Okay, taking your picture. All right, let's go. And before I actually go on to, I'll tell the foxes and then I'll continue. We have foxes that come around at night, and actually they're brave enough to be any time of day now. And I know we had foxes in England, so I was well aware of how brave they can be and just don't give a crap, and they'll walk right up to you. But at night, has anyone heard the noise a fox makes at night? I think from what I've read, they do it when they're in heat. But oh my god, it is the creepiest, weirdest noise. Maybe I've mentioned this on one of these before. Apologise if I have, because I've told so many people about this. But these foxes, they make this noise that sounds like a baby is being strangled. Like, it is the most creepy, eerie, like in the dead of night you hear this noise. And I don't know if it's just because I'm a mother to a baby, or if it's being a woman. I've spoken to some other mothers in my area, and they say when they hear it they have trouble too, but I cannot sleep hearing that noise. And I love having the window open when I can, when it's not 77 is the low. And I know that again is a privilege, being able to have air conditioning, and we use ours sparingly. We have our heat on pretty high in the day, or the set on high, and we don't turn it down that low at night. But anyway, I love to, when I can, have the window open in that window of time where it's getting into the 50s or 60s, low 60s. But I just can't, when I hear it, you can't unhear it, and I can't go back to sleep because it is so creepy. And Steve always laughs at me because he goes right back to sleep, but I just I feel like I'm watching a murder happen, and I'm ignoring it. So I hate it, the noise of those foxes. So I feel like I'm really sensitive to seeing them now, because I guess I am mad at them for making their noises, but I don't know. I think it's more I'm used to seeing them around now. They just walk past you sometimes. So just a strange little thing we have here, and I'm sure many of you do. But if you haven't heard of fox, you can look it up on YouTube, because that's what I did. I think I probably literally typed animal noise at night, screaming or something, and that's where it told me it was a fox. And watch this video. You'll probably come up on the same one I did. And there's all these comments of people like, it's 3 a.m. and I can hear this noise. So it's quite funny, but it is creepy. Okay, we only have a minute and a half left for the 30-minute group. Keep this 30-minute in there because I want this to be inclusive to all levels. If you are a beginner runner, you can still join us for this. And hopefully some of you are. And I know that if you're a new runner or someone who is maybe doing 30 is a long way, there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, well done to you. Can we, the rest of us, just give a clap in our heads to those people if you are getting up to 30 minutes, because at one point you probably couldn't even run 5, and neither could we. We all start somewhere, right? So don't beat yourself up because you are quote unquote only at 30 minutes. Be proud of you being out there. So I hope to see more of you sending in your pictures and joining, because I love it. Right, so in 30 seconds, if you are doing 30 minutes, you will come to a walk, and then we will do 2 strides. Now I should say the other people who are doing 30-minute group are probably people coming back from injury, or maybe coming back from COVID. I hope not. I hope everyone is healthy, but we know it's out there. Or something else. And you don't disregard yourself either with an only. You're doing 30 minutes. That is 30 minutes of running to the average person is like unimaginable. So don't stop saying only. All right, come to a walk. If you are able to do 2 strides, would love for you to do that. Let's just walk for you for a minute. If you're doing 45 or 60, you can keep running. We're going to do 2 strides. And when I say stride, I don't mean sprinting. You're running, if a sprint is at 100%, you're running about 80%. And you're not trying to just take big steps to take, extend your stride. The word is a bit counterintuitive. But what you're trying to do is take more steps than you were before, increase your cadence, and pick up your speed through that. Now, at first it may feel like you're just taking lots of mini steps and not going anywhere. But as you strengthen over time, your body will propel you further forward, and you will get faster and go further with each step. So this is no pressure. We're just picking up our pace. Or if you're coming from a walk, you're just doing 10-ish, 10 to 15 seconds of just picking up the pace faster than you were before. We'll take a walk again, or a run if you're doing the longer one, and do another one. Okay, we're ready? In 3, 2, and 1. And come to a jog or a walk. While we are taking a minute, I want to tell you about something one of my friends is doing today. I want to tell you a bit about Rise, Run, Retreat, which is something I have done in the past. Absolutely loved it. And it is put on by one of my dear friends, Sarah Canny. Now, registration opens on the 31st, so in a few days, and it will stay open until September 10th. I will tell you about it next Monday as well. Now, as I said, I've been to Rise, Run, Retreat. I actually went to the first one, and it was a life-changing experience. It really was. I met so many incredible women, well, Sarah being one, many of which who I am still in touch with today. And they are women who have really done impressive things with their work, with their life. The connections I built were strong, and we've been able to build off one another and grow off one another. It really is a special opportunity. And this one is going to be virtual, so you don't have to worry about the element of travel or COVID. You can do it from anywhere in the world. This is primarily for women. And some of the guest speakers are a confidence coach to Olympians and professional athletes. She's also the author of 30 Days to Confident. Her name is Christine. I don't know if I can say this right. Shufanunas? I should have looked that up before. I apologize to Christine. Apologize to Sarah. Again, this is very me. I'm sorry to Christine. I will make sure that I look it up afterwards and add that in to the outro. And Holly Samuel, who's a registered dietitian and running coach, creator of Fit Cookie Nutrition. And just to tell you a little more about it, we'll get to the other stride. And actually, let's do the other stride and I'll finish telling you. So let's do the other stride in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, if you're in the 30-minute group, listen to what I've got to say here. This would definitely apply to you. And then you can head off. 45, you can continue on. So it has 3 days of live interactive content. You get 14 days playback and access to all materials. There's no prescriptive runs. And I've already said you can join anywhere in the world. They do ship internationally for the custom swag box, which will be delivered right to your door. They have companies like Spring Energy, Noon, and UFOs. And as I already mentioned, you're going to build connections, friendships will last a lifetime. I can attest to that. And these are going to be all women who want to be involved in inviting authentic community. And so if you use code TINA10, you can get 10% off your order, 10% off when you sign up, I suppose. So you can use code TINA10, and I'll put a link in the notes for this episode, so you can go right from this episode wherever you're listening. Rise, Run, Retreat, virtual summit, and it is a beautiful thing to do. You will not regret it. I know plenty of other women who have done it over the years. Sarah has only continued to make it better. 30-minute group. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate you. And yeah, be sure to be brave. Send just me a picture if you need it. If you haven't taken one, take it now. And yeah, thank you. All right, 45-minute group. Got about 9 minutes left, and should have been running this whole time, other than when we stopped to take a picture. And what was I talking about before? Talking about Rise, Run, Retreat. I don't know. Okay, well, anyway, it's a good time for me to answer Ken's question, which I was going to answer today. Well, it's a two-part question. Kind of unrelated, but I'm going to answer them both because one answer is very short. And that is yoga still involved in my life? And Ken, I have to say no. I know how good it is for me, but just have to be honest and no. I don't really do any of the stuff I should be doing, if I'm honest. And I'm aware of how that's putting me at risk of injury. And I mentioned that my hip flexor was bothering me a few days ago, and that's why I'm not doing a workout today. I am fully aware that is because of not doing the little things and still not getting on the strength training. I use excuses, but I don't really have to. I just fall on the you know, 2 young kids, business, and no family nearby excuse. And so, no, I, you know, have kind of come to peace with that this is what I can do, but I also know I need to prioritize, especially the strength training. But right now I'm not there. So yeah. And the second question was, if I didn't do this, what I do now, what would I be doing? And that is a really funny question to answer, right? Because if you take this moment right now, what am I doing? Like, to anyone who runs past me when I'm out here, they see me running, talking to my phone, talking to myself as if I was literally running next to someone, which is the idea for us, right? But how do you describe that? I'm a someone who, I can't even begin to describe. I'm a invisible running coach, maybe? Anyway, but I know that's not all I do. There is a lot more, but I do struggle to describe it to people on that note. You know, when I take someone who's not a runner and I say, yeah, I have a business for runners, and they're like, oh, so what do you offer? I'm like, well, I say I have a podcast, and kind of see their eyes going, yeah, so does everyone. And then, like, well, I offer online services to runners, and I list off a few. But to them, they're like, yeah, and what else do you do? So it's a bit of a weird life task anyway. And I think my parents would still say she has a running blog and podcast as it. But yeah, I get quite offended when people say that. Yeah, I still don't know how to describe myself. Which leads to the question, why haven't I sat down to figure that out? Laziness, I suppose? Who knows? How would you describe what you do? Or if you were being interviewed, let's answer that question for now. If you were being interviewed on a podcast, maybe you have, and someone said, introduce yourself, or tell me a short bio, what would you say? What words would you use first? Let's just think about that for a few minutes. I've answered that so many times. Yeah, I still don't really have a good answer for it. What would you say? It's hard, isn't it? Harder than it seems. Which I'm curious which words you chose first. And did you put any thought into the psychology of the order? Because I often find I do that. Like, I might think, oh, I should probably say mother first. But then if I'm on something that maybe was focused on my performance from my past, maybe I wouldn't say mother first, even though that is the first thing that comes to mind for me. I don't know, it is interesting that sometimes I flip the order of things depending on what I'm doing. So I'd love to hear from you, and let me know afterwards when you do a post, or if you message me afterwards, what do you say? What would you say? And does the person you're talking to change what you would start with? Okay, so we've got 3 minutes left for the 45-minute group. So I'll begin talking about what I would do, but you're going to have to walk along with us to hear the rest of it, because I haven't thought it through, to be honest. I very much, when people send me interview questions with, here's what I'm going to ask you, other than the UN, which I prepared because, well, yeah, I prepared for one of the UN ones. The other ones, you didn't give me anything, but the first one I prepared for because I wanted to impress them. And some of the questions were things I'd never thought about an answer for. And so, yeah, another thing I'd love to know from you, when I ask a question on the podcast, or when a podcast you listen to asks the question, do you ever think about your answer for that? Like, what would you say? Like, I just asked you, how would you describe yourself? But what about other ones? Like, do you ever stop to think about your answer? I do sometimes with things like when Brene Brown asks, courage is, or vulnerability is, that's it. Like, I sometimes stop to think, what would I say to that? Or like Michael Gervais asks the same questions. Sometimes I stop to think about one of his. Do you ever do that with questions for people? Curious. Again, I would love to hear. All of us probably won't remember I asked this question. Maybe I should enlist someone with a good memory to do these and listen first and message me with all the questions I ask. Okay, I still haven't started talking about what I was going to talk about. So at this point, we're going to hold off till after our next 2 strides, which are in this final minute. But now, let's take another check-in. Let's just spend this final minute doing a body scan. How do you feel? So start at the top of your head and scan down. I'm not going to prompt you this time. You're just going to follow what feels right to you. Okay, and 45-minute group, come to a walk. And how did you feel? How did the rest of us feel? Anything different than before? Anything you notice more, notice less? And how are you feeling mentally? Ask yourself that at this point. Okay, and as we don't need as long, we're going to be in our stride. Just going to do another 2. You can walk in between if you're doing 45 minutes. If you're doing 60, keep on going. All right, you ready? In 3, 2, and 1. And come to a jog or a walk. Ooh, I'm going up a pretty significant hill. Yeah, let's all take a deep breath. Ready? Thanks. Okay, we'll do one more stride in just a minute. And I'll remind you of a few things. Oh, this is a test. I have 4 people coming towards me in a group. Don't mind looking crazy in front of 1. What about 4? We'll see if they turn off. Okay, I'm going to begin our next stride. Ready? In 3, 2, and 1. Running. And slow to a jog or a walk. 45-minute group. Remember to upload, send me your picture, and use hashtag #TogetherRun19. Thank you for joining me. Go check out that Rise Run retreat list link. Really think it's a fantastic opportunity. If you use code TINA10 at checkout, you can get yourself 10% off. And go touch something in nature again. Ground yourself to finish this run. Thank you for joining me. All right, 60-minute group. We have about 12 minutes to go. And let's maybe, we'll answer my question and then we'll do one more check-in with our bodies. Okay, so what would I do if I didn't do what I do, which we've just established does not really have a name? I love psychology, so I maybe think I would have ended up somewhere there. Maybe something's kind of social and psychology, maybe a researcher in psychology, social psychologist. I don't know. I really love understanding how the mind works. So I think I probably would have picked something in that. But my bachelor's degree is in corporate fitness and my master's is in business. So that would have been a total flip. And if I wasn't, I'm very much a believer in like the butterfly effect of things. And so if I was gonna not do what I do, wouldn't I have not done at least a master's in business? If I didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. So think about that. I also think when I was a kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist. And the reason I kind of lost interest in that was because I realized that in England, if you're a marine biologist, your most likely job is like fishing up things from the Thames. And that didn't sound appealing at all. And so, I always wonder how things connect. Was a part of that I wanted to live in a country that did have the opportunity to, do something like that. I don't know. I lost interest in the career path, but maybe that sense of moving away from England was always there. And there's so many things I think about that, are all connected. And my aunt took me to Australia when I was 10 for a month. I went without my parents, with my aunt, who I'm very close to. And I think about that. Like I was in Australia, got to see the beauty of Perth and the surrounding areas. And how did that play a role in my life? Did that give me the confidence that I could move away from my family? I've gone way off topic here, but surely you can think about it within your own life. And then I think about my sister and I spending summers at the grandma's I mentioned earlier. How did that affect my life? Did that show me that the grandparents play a pivotal role, that family, that sisters, time away with sister means a lot, which is why I, so badly want Bailey and Chloe to do things together. I don't know. But getting back to your actual question, Ken, I've given two options. I would maybe have ended up in marketing, probably. That's probably the closest thing. And I have thought about that on occasions where I'm fed up of the red tape, or I know there's red tape everywhere, but I'm fed up of chasing, begging for brands, or feeling like I'm selling myself in that way. I've thought about, why don't I just get a full-time job as a marketing manager or social media manager, where I don't have to manage my life, but I can do other people's. But something in me can never do it. And I don't know if I could work with someone in that way now. I really love the freedom that I have. And I really love that I work with my team at Running for Real. And we have this building and have this close-knit network of women and Jeremy who work together. And as Erica says, work like a hive. And never had that before, but it's definitely changing my way I'm viewing things in such a good way. In that I'm not viewing it as, I'm moving away from, I should say, viewing it as people work for me and moving it towards work with me. And as someone who probably does have a pretty big ego that can be hard at times to, you know, pull apart. That's what we hear all day long, isn't it? Works for me, my boss, my person I work for. You know, that's the language we've been ingrained with. And I'm trying to move away from that because I love the idea that we work together as a team, as a unit, as a hive, towards a common goal. And that's why Running for Real is moving away from it just being me. Yes, of course, my voice is going to be everywhere. And I have been told that many of you, it is me that you enjoy my voice. But I also think the other women have a lot to offer, and I can still be a central part of it without being all of it. And so moving that away. And so I think, Ken, in some ways, I am transitioning it away anyway into a new job, which is a job that is the job I want to create for myself, the role I want to do. And maybe that can involve some elements of psychology, and maybe it can involve it can involve marine biology, but involves work with the environment, which is looking at the oceans. So I feel good about our future at Running for Real. We have an amazing team now. I'm investing a lot. You probably can see it if you stop to look. But I am taking some pretty big risks right now. I've hired, I think we have 10 people on our staff now. 10 people aboard the team. And I'm well aware that that's part of living for people now. And I have a promise and a loyalty. And that adds a little bit of pressure that, got to hold up my end of the bargain. So, especially as someone who knows what it feels like to have not been paid in the past and had to chase up payment, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to feel like I'm not valued or respected. So that was a very random tangle of thoughts, but kind of sums up where I am at with Running for Real and why I feel that taking this risk is worth it, even if it does look a bit intimidating and it triggers those self-doubt thoughts of, are you sure you can do this? But I believe I can. So we will see. All right, friends. Let's do our last 2 strides in a minute's time. So for this minute, let's do a senses check-in. Just go through the senses, whatever order you feel right. Just pick a few things for each one and move on. Okay? And if you've done all your senses, go round again. Okay, you ready for a stride? And begin in 3, 2, and 1. And come to a jog. Can you tell when I'm going up or down a hill? I've got to imagine that's pretty mentioned before I was going uphill. And I could hear the difference in my steps. And then when you're going downhill, it's probably a lot longer step. Or you're probably not even thinking about it. Okay, ready? I'm right near another woman and I feel really awkward about running past her and then slowing down. So I'm just going to have us hold off for the sake of women until I turn the corner. But when we do finish here, be sure you use #TogetherRun 19. Make sure you go check out Rise Run Retreat and use code TINA10 and send me a picture, upload your picture. What were the answers to some of the questions? Okay, ready to begin our final stride? In 3, 2, and 1. And come to a jog. Keep jogging for a second. And walk. Good job, friends. Well done for getting that done today. Touch the ground, touch nature, be around something that is grounding you, even if it is cement. Touch something. Go touch my grass. Pick up a leaf. Go check out Rise Run Retreat. Use #TogetherRun19. Answer my questions if you can remember what they are. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next Monday. Before we end this episode, I just want to take a moment to shout out my podcast editor, Jeremy Nessel, who has done such a wonderful job of looking after my podcast, taking out all the mishaps in the episodes, while still keeping in the vulnerability and the realness and the rawness of the conversation. This is not one of those podcasts where I take out the ums and the ers and the sometimes the delay in words, because I think it's very important to keep that authenticity. We're surrounded by perfected and manicured everything, and I think it's really important that Running for Real stays that way. So thank you to Jeremy for your work. I also want to thank Maria Vargas and Amber Moore, who are also part of my team. They've been a big part of this community and me being able to build this brand. So just want to give them a shout out too. All right, let's get right back to the end of this episode.